5-marker simultaneous equations, one of the most popular 5-marker questions. Let's just recap what we've done in the past. I still think they're tricky, simultaneous equations, even if they are the easier sort. But here's two, x plus y and x minus y. And you can see you've got a plus y and a minus y. We just add these two equations together and we end up with just x's. And you can take it from there, divide by 2 and off you go. That's probably the easiest form, where the positive and the negative y will cancel out if you just add them. Obviously we get harder ones, and 3x minus y, 3x plus 2y is slightly harder. We've got different numbers of y's. Even if one's negative, we're going to have to do a little bit of work here. So we take the first one and double it, and that'll give us minus 2y. So we end up with 6x minus 2y equals 6, and the plus 2 and the minus 2 will cancel each other out if we just add them. So we add these last two to make 8x. That cancels out, is 16, so that's obviously x equals 2. We take it a little bit further with the harder ones, where we have to do subtraction. I don't like subtraction. It introduces all sorts of things. But here we go, 3x plus y equals 3, 2x plus 2y equals 10. Right, well, we want to get the same number of y, so we're going to have to double the first one. So 2 times the first equals 6x, 2y and 6. But we've still got 2y and 2y, so we have to subtract. And I'm going to subtract the second one from the first. So it's 2x minus 6, which is minus 4. The 2y and the 2y cancel, and it's 10 minus 6, which is 4. Minus 4x equals 4, which I hope you realise is x equals minus 1. That's the sort of thing we're going to come up against in these, what I would describe as difficult simultaneous equations, but they are worth 5 marks. Let's have a look at one. A cinema has standard seats and premier seats. Omar books 3 standard and 2 premier and pays 30. Fatima 2 standard and 4 premier and pays 40. This is a no calculator question, so hopefully all the answers are going to be relatively straightforward. Use an algebraic method, no guessing basically, to find the difference in cost. Well, we've got several bits going on here. Firstly, we're getting the information to form our simultaneous equations in text form, which makes it harder. Just is harder if you see it in like this. For some reason they've even complicated it by Omar and Fatima buying these things. They could have just said 3 standard and 2 premier costs 30. So introducing superfluous information, which is not pleasant. Anyway, what we're going to do, we're going to have a think, we're going to find 2 simultaneous equations. The next thing we're going to do obviously is solve them, and then at the end of it we've got to find out the difference in costs between a standard seat and a premier seat. We'll just answer the question. Put that out your mind for the moment. It's essential to focus on the 3 bits together. First bit, let's find these equations. 3 standard and 2 premier equals 30. 2 standard and 2 premier equals 30. So 3 standard, 2 standard and 4 premier. I tell you it was difficult. 2 standard and 4 premier equals 40. Right, you'll be pleased to know that we got a mark for that. Just put S&P, examiner's going to know what you're talking about. Right, we're going to have to do some manipulation here. We've probably going to work with the P's. We just need to double this first one. So let's label them up and say 2 times the first. 2 times the first equals 6s plus 2p, and that now equals 60. So I've got 4p and 4p. I can take one from the other. With these sort of questions, both the values of S and P are going to be positive because seats cost a positive amount of money. So it shouldn't be too difficult, but we've found ourselves with the smaller values up at the top here, 2s and 6s and 40 and 60. So I'm going to subtract this line from this line. I'm going to indicate it with that so we don't get lost. Okay, 6s minus 2s, that's 4s, 60 minus 40, that's 20. Brilliant, nice round numbers. I get another mark for showing I've got the competence to know what's going on. I'm using a method to eliminate. So method mark, divide by 4, S is equal to 5. Standard is equal to 5. And that's another mark. Great stuff. Right, I now have S, which I'm going to substitute into, say, this top one. So 3 times 5, because we know what S is, plus 2p equals 30. Well, that's 15. 15 plus 2p equals 30. I subtract 15. 2p equals 15. Divide by 2. P equals 7.5. I love these round numbers. So don't forget, this is no calculator. So we now have S and P. Another mark for that. Brilliant. And now we come to answer the question. The difference in cost between a standard and a Premier. Premier minus standard, the Premier is going to be more expensive. 7.50 minus 5 equals £2.50. Oh, another 5. 5 marks. Brilliant. Okay. Obviously, we're going to make some sort of check. We used 1 here, so I'm going to use 2. 2s plus 4p equals 40. 2 times 5 plus 4 times 7.5 does indeed equal 40. Brilliant. So have a think. Don't rush in. It's a 5 marker. You want to get this right. 3 parts. Find the simultaneous equations. Show you have some wherewithal to solve them. Hopefully solve them. And then find the costs. It's a lot of work, but it's worth 5 marks. Let's have a look at another one. 7 cartons. Horrible numbers here. This is a calculator question, thank goodness. 7 cartons of apple juice, 2 cartons of grapefruit juice. Well, those 2 equations coming from here. Algebraic method to calculate the total. Now here we go with the final question. 2 apple juice and 5 cartons of grapefruit. It's a bit of a wall. This texture stuff, it's textual questions. It's a wall of words and things. You've really got to dig deep. But have a think. There are 2 simultaneous equations here. You're going to solve them, then you're going to find the cost. Focus the simultaneous equations. There's so much we could ignore. There's 7 apple juice and there's 2 grapefruit juice and they cost 6.15. 7 apple and 2 grapefruit equals 6.15. 5 apple and 8 grapefruit equals 9.19. What a horrible number that is. 9.19. So there's the second equation. We're going to have problems here. I don't fancy using these because these are both primes and you're going to have to get to 35 apples before you can get anywhere. But this is lovely. Multiply the top one by 4. We've got the same number, 8g, and we will be able to subtract them and find something out. So let's, oh dear, I've got one mark for that. Let's label these up. Let's take 4 times the top one is 28 plus 8g equals this. I'm using my calculator. I am not making a mistake on this. So now I have got 8g here and 8g here. And again, I've got the smaller numbers up here. So I'm going to subtract. Oh, this is all over the place. Oh no, I've rewritten it down here. I've written it down here to make it make sense. And I'm subtracting. So what am I doing? I'm showing, I know what I'm doing, to a way of finding out, of solving a simultaneous equation, so I get a mark for that. And now 23a, which is 28 minus 5a, the 8g and the 8g cancel out, and I'm subtracting 9.19 from 24.6, 15.41. That's an ugly number. That's an ugly number. Let's see if they work together. Divide by 23, a equals 67p. Apple carton of juice equals 67p. Right, well, let's substitute it into one of these. Let's go with the first one, it's easiest. Oh, we get a mark for that, of course. 7 times a, 7 times 67p plus 2g equals 6.15. £4.69, use your calculator, no showing off. Plus 2g equals 6.15, I'm going to subtract that, obviously. 2g equals 1.46, oh, this is nice. 2g equals 0.73, 73p for grapefruit juice. These are either very small cartons or it's a long time ago. Right, so I've now got A and G, and what's the question? We get to the question now. The total cost of 2 cartons of apple juice and 5 cartons of grapefruit juice. Right, 2 apple juice and 5 grapefruit juice, 2 times 67, 5 times 73. Do not do that in your head. £4.99. Right, great. Well, I'm very happy with that. And of course, an extra mark. So there's my 5 marks. 1 for the equation, 2 for showing competence about getting solving a simultaneous equation, 1 for 1 answer, 2 for 2 answers, and the 5th mark for the correct answer. Obviously we're going to make a check here. We used this equation, so I'm going to use this equation to check it. 5 times 67 plus 8 times 73 does indeed equal 9.19. Would be terrible if it didn't after all that work. Now I've made a guesstimate here. Both of these are worth about 70p, 67 and 73. And we've got 7 of them, 2 and 5. So 7 times 70p is 490, and it's 499. So I'd be happy with that. This is an estimate really. I could just eyeball or repeat this calculation, but I like to do things differently. So do not panic. It reads terribly, this question. You just have to dig out what you must know and forget about the rest and focus on what you're doing. 2 simultaneous equations. Now once you get those, then you can try and solve them, and once you've solved them you answer the last part of the question. Let's look at another one. Tram company sells tickets. Actually, I might leave this one for you. How did you do? I'm going to jump this now. I'm going to go straight to the big finale, and that is this. Step 1. Think. Find the simultaneous equations. They're not there written for you. You've got to dig them out of the text. Have a good look. Then step 2. Solve the equations. Well, hopefully you'll be able to do that, or have a good bash at it. And step 3. Answer the extra question. That's why it's a 5-mark question. They're hiding the equations. You have to solve the equations, and then they give you a mark for adding the extra bit at the end, which hopefully you won't forget. And then of course check it. These questions are hard, but I hope this has made it easier, even if it's still tricky. Why not sign up? I've got lots of videos, more coming. But if you're doing an exam soon, best of luck.